Hello and welcome to Unrestricted Lore Fair's Beacon Space Faction Turn 31. I'm your Game Master and host, LichMaster98. You may also know me as Xavier Stortes from the Discord community, or as I'm still rocking the April Fool's Day name of Xenogoras, Orator of Yore. As we get started with our Faction Turn 31 this time, it is worth a small note. We were unfortunately unable to have a lore stream due to a confluence of unfortunate events that just meant that it isn't able to be happening for turn 31. We may combine turn 31 and 32 information from what people had shared to make sure that it still makes it onto a stream, and I may put together a small article summary if I have some time over this weekend to at least put together and document the things that were submitted for the previous turn. With that said, I don't think I have any other pre-faction turn announcements, and given that somebody forgot to check the holiday schedule when they scheduled a lore stream this month, I did manage to schedule the lore stream over a US holiday, holiday weekend, which, given I'm in the US, I generally try not to do, but lo and behold, I did so anyway. So, understandably, more people may be catching this as a VOD, either after the stream or on YouTube, so hi to all of you who are joining afterwards when it's not a holiday, and you're maybe not out enjoying some time with family. With that said, though, let's go ahead and get started proper with the faction turn as we kick things off in turn 31. Now, was I smart enough in advance when I was setting things up to put in the turn orders? I don't think I was, but I do think I gave myself the space. Maybe I gave myself the space. Let's go ahead and add 3 more columns to the right, just so that this section is a little bit more centered, and that'll at least help being able to view things on the screen. So give ourselves a little bit of extra information that way. Fantastic. So I didn't put the turn order in, so we'll be doing it the old-fashioned way, where we do this by hand. But that means that's perfectly fine, and we get to get started with the Tohora Fai, who find themselves first for faction turn 31. They're going to be taking the goal of C's planet, which, as is normally the case, does complete this turn. They'll be gaining their income, bringing them up by 13 faction credits to a balance of 18, and they'll be taking the action of C's planet as well, in which they'll be taking advantage of the fact that they can make some attacks, so we'll be sure to process those in just a moment. As we get started, though, let's give them their money, bringing their balance up to, as we just said, 18 faction credits. The first thing they're going to do on their turn is they're going to attempt their quest roll. So we go check the rules, for the Hunt or Protect the Whale quest. Tohora Fai finds themselves in the section where they are attempting to establish the sanctuary for the white whale on Cernan. So that's a d10 plus wealth plus the number of faction credits up to 5 against a relatively low DC of 8. It does increase by +1 each turn, but the whale did not take damage, so they've only succeeded once, therefore the DC is currently 9. With their wealth score of 3 and spending 5 faction credits on the roll, this success is guaranteed, but we're still going to roll it nonetheless. Let's roll that d10 plus 5 plus 3 for a 17, a well beating of the DC of 9. That brings their progress tracker up to 2 on the sanctuary establishment. Let's charge them the 5 faction credits for that, bringing them down to 13. Next up, they're going to attempt to influence the whale's actions by rolling a contested +4 versus +4 roll. So let's pick a side and say we're going to roll the defenders first for today's stream. So the whale has rolled a 6, and that means the Tohora Fai have rolled, a 14. Meaning they do get to influence what action the whale takes, and they're going to instruct the whale to take the heal action on its turn. Let me go make a note of that, so that when we get there, heal influenced by Tohora. That way we can see what they do. Fantastic. Up next, we're going to execute a planet seize for them by using this distorted lens asset on the 0310 planet AG world in this system. The distorted lens is going to start a seize. There's no other assets there, so it's able to do so without any issues whatsoever. Nobody gets a chance to oppose. I'll put their tracker at 1 out of 3 for that seize. Next up, they're going to take advantage of free movement rules for strike fleets and move 3 of them, charging them 1 faction credit each for a total of 3, taking their balance down to 10. And we're going to go move some assets around for them. So let's clear the purchase sickness on the previous asset they acquired. And let's move the 3 strike fleets that are currently on Cernan, are all moving to the 0511 hex. That, I believe, is the other strike fleet, and then there should be one more. Here it is. There they are. And those are going to come into encounter 2 Ogumala strike fleets in the space hex, and there is going to be some combat. So all 3 of these assets are attacking. They're all 3 at full health, so there is an order given so that I know which order to place damage in, but I will handle that when I have to deal damage if that is the case. So Ogumala's force is a force, Ogumala has a force of 4, Tohorfai has a force of 6, so this is going to be a defender with a +4 and the attacker with a +6. So we'll start off with the first attack from the strike fleet, and the Ogumala Syndicate have chosen to defend with, I believe it is, I was given a name, so the first one is being blocked with the Viridescent Fangs. They only have strike fleets available, so it's fairly straightforward for the first attack here. So the defenders, as we've started to stream off with, have rolled an 11, and the Tohorfai have responded with an 8. So that will mean they lose the first engagement, but that does trigger counter-attack damage for a strike fleet. I'm just going to use the one here from Tohorfai's roll, so a counter-attack damage is 1d8, giving a not a d18, a 1d8, slash, one of these times I'll type the correct command in, so that is 2 damage in response. This one does not count, it's a d18, not a d8. So, a 2 on the damage roll provides 2 damage to the Black Gorab. Okay, let's go record that. Tohorfai, Black Gorab goes down to an HP of 6. Up next then, the Kahupa Remana probably is more correct there, is going to be, blocked by the Armada of the Wild Expanse. So sticking with the order of operations here, let's roll the defender first of a d10 +4 for an 8, and then let's roll the attacker of a d10 +6 for a 16. Meaning the attacker will succeed in this case, so 2d6 damage, as that's a strike fleet's attack damage, deals 8 damage to the Armada of the Wild Expanse. So, well, Syndicate's up here somewhere. Armada of the Wild Expanse, at the top of the sheet, is now down to 3 HP. And the final attack from the Unquiet and Unafraid is the exact same dice rolls, and the Ogumala are going to go back to defending with the Viridescent Fangs, given they have the most HP available. So, rolling for the defenders, we have a d10 +4 for another 8, rolling a d10 +6 for the attackers. We have, a 7, meaning counter-attack damage is in store of a d8 for 6 damage back to the Unquiet and Unafraid. Unfortunately, they are no longer the Unquiet, the Unafraid, and the Undamaged. That will bring them down to a total of 2 HP remaining after 6 damage dealt. That wraps up the combat there. I will pull details into the sheet if needed, but more than likely Illyria's document will cover the exact die results much better than I could manage to do so in the middle of the stream. So, we'll just move on to the next roll from the Tohorafai, as they are going to attempt to revise charts, retrying their same attempt from last time to improve Saranin's biosphere to engineered. A DC 14 roll, they get a +7 from their constellation bonus. So let's go ahead and make that roll for them. This is a D10 +7, trying to beat a DC 14. A 16 will do it, meaning that the planet biosphere of Saranin has been changed. Let's find the planet and come over here, and it's wanted to take the biosphere from no native to engineered. Yep, that's fine, that's changing. Cool. Congratulations for their success there. The other thing they're going to do, which needs to be made note of on the sheet, is the ruin that Ascent revealed on the planet in 0400 Necrosaria de Jeffrey Kononsu, which I've almost certainly mispronounced, has a new clock on it. It's counting up to a 45 faction credit contribution from any faction across the sector, and the Tohorafai have elected to donate 4 faction credits into this clock. I'm going to go ahead and mark 4 out of 45 here, and then we'll track that contribution here, as that seems the most appropriate place for FC to 0400 ruin clock. And since we're here, the planet of CH has been seized by the Tohorafai, which will grant them their experience, taking them up to 5, and will return to the planet map to give them their planetary government status. They did provide a new name for this planet now that it has been seized. It is now named Imriha? I have no idea. Somebody's going to have to give me a pronunciation guide. There's how you spell it. It doesn't look like they gave me a name for the system, however, so they can elect to do that at their earliest convenience. That wraps up the Tohorafai's turn, coming in, taking the first slot of today's faction turn. Coming in second, we need to go find the Tellus Council, who will need to first off increase some of their stats. I believe they still have a few of those remaining, and then they're going to earn their income. So let's apply their stats. Yes, they will increase their cunning and wealth by 1. So that will take them up to their total final stat line of a 366 for the moment. We can get rid of that note, and we'll go ahead and grant them their 1 faction credit of income, bringing their balance up to 7. They're then going to take the use asset ability action to activate their numerous assets on planet. They're going to roll the 2 post-tech industries they have, as well as the harvesters. So post-tech industries, we will go check. Need to go roll a D6, I believe, as will the harvesters, but we'll just go pull up the matching thing here. Yep, a D6. So we'll go roll a D6 for the first one, because there are some reroll instructions relevant here. So that is a 3. So that is perfectly fine, and that is just a +1 by default on the there's what I'm looking for. +1 faction credit. I'll do all of this at the end. So then another D6 for the second post-tech industry is a 5. That means a +2, so the total balance is currently 3. And a D6 for the harvesters. That's rolled a 6. I do believe that still just grants 1 faction credit in its case. Yep. So that means 4 was earned from all of those assets by triggering the tag for the Tellus Council. However, all of those are doubled, bringing their balance and gain up to a total of 8. So 15 faction credits for their total income, or for their total amount of money currently held, excuse me. That wraps up the Tellus Council's turn, as it does not achieve goals in the classic way, being a council. Up next, we have the Amelhart Institute coming in third this faction turn. They are going to stick with their same action as last time and take the attack action, as well as resetting their blood the enemy goal. Let's go set that goal for them, meaning that they need... But did they complete BTE last time? They didn't. Okay, so they just still have BTE. Excuse me. It would be useful to actually remember to check the... check my sheet. So, they'll just still be trying to achieve that at 16 faction credits. Or, 16 faction credits. 16 damage that needs to be dealt. So, we will go from there. They are going to make some attacks, but first they need to move a commodities broker that is currently located on the planet of Tellus, right here, by activating the covert shipping asset and sending it over to Icaros. So, that will cost them 1 faction credit to do so, as that is the way the covert shipping operates. So that takes their balance down after we give them their income. So they go up to a total of 19 and then immediately down to 18. And we will go move this asset of theirs, as well as clearing the purchase sickness on the distorted lens they received. So commodities broker on Tellus moves its way over to Icaros. Nice. Okay, 2 attacks then. Both of these attacks were originally made against Descent, however they have been elected to block by the Children of the Vein using the post-tech industry on World. So that means this attack will be, instead of defended by Ascent, it will be defended by the Children of the Vein. So, a commodities broker asset is a wealth versus wealth attack. So the Amelhart's wealth score is a 6, the Children of the Vein's wealth score is a 6. Sticking with the theme of today's rolls, the defender will roll first for the Children of the Vein. They would re-roll a 1 if rolled, so we'll go ahead and include that in this. So they have rolled an 18 on their defense, so the attacker of the Amelhart Institute has rolled an 8. That will mean they lose this attack, so the counter-attack damage of the post-tech industry asset will be used. Let's go check that here. Here it is. It is a d4 of counter damage, so 1d4 of damage back is only a measly 1 damage in return to the attacking asset. So, it specified to the Children of the Vein the attack order was the 1 HP first. That is quite unfortunate, as that one has now died. Let's find it right here, now at 0 HP. The second attack rolls in from the other commodities broker, same attacking and defending rolls, so a d10 rerolling 1s plus 6 for the defender is a 12. The attacker gets a d10 plus 6 for a 9. Oof, another failed attack, but this time it does take 4 counterattack damage instead of just 1. So that will be 4 dealt to the other commodities broker, taking it down to a balance of 4 HP remaining. Alright. And then the final thing Amelhart is going to do on their turn is take advantage of one of their quest actions. So if we come back over here to the document and go to take a look at Amelhart activation, they have a roll for Boost the AI, where they can roll a d10 plus their force, plus an amount of damage, plus some faction credits against DC 12. So their force score is a 4. They are electing to take 3 damage to the asset, providing them a d6 of damage, providing them a +3 to this roll, and they are going to spend 2 faction credits on it. So this could potentially increase their clock by 1 as well. So we'll roll a d10 adding the 4, 3, and 2 bonuses for a 13, so squeaking by over the DC of 12 for success. Does, however, take a d6 of damage on a Vanguard Cadre's asset, only taking 1 damage. Vanguard Cadre is located back on Ingrid, is now down at 9 HP. They do, however, make 1 success on their clock, taking them up to 4 out of 12. And we will return to that clock later on. Unfortunately, they did not succeed any attacks, so Blood the Enemy does not progress in progress, so they are not able to complete that goal this turn. We will move along then to the next faction in our turn this time with the Larkspur Combine, who are going to take the Inside Enemy Territory goal, as well as receive their 6 faction credits of income. They're then going to take the buy asset action, taking advantage of the rewording for it to actually trade in an existing asset. But we have some movement to do first. So first off, we're going to move 4 strike fleets around. So let's grant them their 6 faction income, taking them up to 20, and then charge them 4 faction credits for the assets they're about to move, taking them down to 16. They're going to go move 4 different assets, all strike fleets, as has been quite normal for them. So, there is, they have 2 strike fleets on Idarast that are moving to Mankura Niti, continuing their tour of assembled Commonwealth space. There is a strike fleet on Grailworld that is going to move itself to 1410 Yakia, as well as a strike fleet on Eris that is moving itself to 1206 El Arpon. That completes Inside Enemy Territory for them, and will grant them their XP in just a moment. They are then going to also, for their actual action of buying an asset, trade in an unaffiliated post-tech industry asset on Moss. One of these two, one of those 3. None are named, so we'll go ahead and trade one in to purchase an extended theater asset. So let's go through this, since the way we're handling refits has essentially changed to centralize some of the confusing logic that came up there. So to buy the asset of a extended theater, it would normally be a force asset over here of force 4, costing 10 HP. It is a facility. Given this is a facility, the trade-in is valid, meaning that we can take the discount that would normally cost to purchase a post-tech industry away from this purchase. The post-tech industry finds itself right up here to have a cost of 8 faction credits. As we said, it is the matching facility, therefore this purchase can be made for 2 faction credits, which is how this is going to resolve out. So we'll change one of these post-tech industry assets into an extended theater asset. And that should be perfectly fine there. It is of note that HP for the post-tech industry would have been up at 4 out of 4 if damage had been on the asset. Say it had been at 1 damage. That HP would not be restored with the rules changes. Instead, the asset would have found itself at 7 out of 10 HP. When purchasing or refitting an asset in this way, however, factions are able to use the same rules as the normal repair action to spend an additional cost of faction credits to actually repair that damage. So they're able to get a free built-in repair. It is no longer free, so you can't just hack a 1 HP asset back up to 10 by using a refit. You have to actually pay for it with this change. That will charge the Larkspur Combine, though, 2 faction credits, taking them back down to 14, which is where they started today's turn. Inside Enemy Territory, as we mentioned, completes, taking them up to 17 experience. That wraps up the Larkspur Combine, meaning we get to move on to our next faction, the Concord of Mutual Disdain, who find themselves 5th this faction turn. They are going to be taking the Scout a System goal, and then we'll collect their income of 8 faction credits, and then they will buy another asset, also trading in. So, let's go give them their money, taking their balance up to a total of 52 faction credits. Holy moly. Getting quite rich there. They're then going to trade in and... that purchasing this can go away. They're then going to trade in their elite skirmishers military unit asset to purchase a grav tank formation. So let's go do the same thing we just did. So scrolling down to the force assets, a grav tank formation is force 6. It is a military unit asset and it would normally cost 25. Given the trade-in asset of elite skirmishers up here is also a military unit, costing 5 faction credits, that makes the total purchase price of the grav tank 20 faction credits. So let's go charge them that, bringing their balance down to 32 faction credits, and we will go upgrade their elite skirmishers to a grav tank formation. Again, this asset is at full health, so this upgrade is perfectly fine without any additional cost needed to handle the thing. I should give purchase sickness though to this purchased asset, and I should go back and remember to do that to the Larkspur Combine's purchased asset, as you don't get out of that just because you refit an asset. Cool. There are then 2 strike fleets that need to move for the Concord and Mutual Disdain. There's one on 1206 that is going to make its way to 1304 Valkai, and there is a strike fleet on Kartakuk that is going to make its way to Gome, which I hear there's no place like. Both of those will take 1 faction credit each, so we will charge 2 faction credits, taking their balance down to 30. Then they're going to be taking advantage of one of the Valkai actions and trying to help Valkai by evacuate the population. So they're going to... they have a starship asset, the one that just moved onto Valkai, on the planet, so they check that off. They then need to roll a D10 plus their well score against DC 9, and on a success, the evacuation tracker will increase. So the wealth score of the Concord and Mutual Disdain is a 4, so let's go roll this D10 plus 4 against a DC 9. An 8, unfortunately, is a failure. I don't believe there's any penalty for failing, you just don't provide an additional assistance for the evacuation this turn. This asset can retake the attempt without needing to leave and return to the world. Something or someone just manages to get in the way and population is not able to be successfully evacuated. Apologies for that. The other thing they are going to do is take advantage of a map modification, though, and they're going to go attempt to establish a refueling station on one of their worlds. So, we get to take a look at here, because I don't think we've made a refueling station in any time recent history. Where is that one? I know those exist in the base game. Did I just miss them from my chart? Apparently I did. I will follow up with them and figure out what they intended to roll for here. I missed this. Maybe it is on the individual document and failed to get transferred over correctly. Either way, I will follow up with them. More than likely, whatever they choose will be a success, because it'll probably be a difficulty 10 and they have a +9. So we will figure this out, and I'll just provide a text update afterwards. It is important to figuring it out for their goal, so because of that, I'll definitely just take the time to figure out what got lost in translation there, because refueling assets are a thing, right? That is a map thing. I'm pretty sure that's an actual map thing. Actually, I can just go check by sector objects. Yeah, refueling station. I must have just missed it on my when I made that chart, which would be entirely my bad because there's no reason why you couldn't establish a refueling station. So we'll definitely get that worked out and figure out what is up. And if it is my fault, I will just establish a DC and make the roll for them. So more than likely it will be DC 10. But I will go check the other rules document. I just don't have it open, so I'm not going to do that on stream. That sounds like definitely going to lead to bad time of trying to find the right document. So we will place that on pause, and so that I don't remember, I will set their goal so that I try to remember to come back to this afterwards, and we will resolve that for them in a little bit. So we'll move on instead to the next faction, which would be Ascent, coming in 6th this faction turn. They are going to collect their income of 5 faction credits, and then they are going to use asset ability. They're going to move their freighter contract and treachery asset onto the planet of Valkai, and then they're going to look to take one of their quest actions and establish an outpost on Defrigi Kansu. We'll go over that in just a moment, but they're going to collect their income, taking them up to a balance of 28, and then immediately dropping down to 27 to move these 2 assets around. Let's go move the treachery asset on to Valkai along with the freighter contract. Fantastic. Those have now been moved. Then the outpost they're establishing, it comes from the quest that was announced for them last time. In the phase 1 of their quest, they need to establish a selection of these outposts on their different worlds. It is a free action to do so. They need to either control the planetary government or have a base of influence to establish an outpost there. It is a DC 10 roll plus faction credits plus an amount of damage. Against DC 8 with faction credit is an amount up to 5, and damage can be a damage by taking damage to an asset. They are just going to spend 3 faction credits on this turn on this one roll, but they would, if they wanted to, be allowed to take this multiple times. The DC would just increase by 4 each time. So starting off with DC 8, this is just a D10 roll plus 3, resulting in, unfortunately, a 4, so that does not establish an outpost for them. But they do, however, still lose those 3 faction credits, taking their balance down to 24. That wraps up Ascent's turn, and we will move over to the Assembled Commonwealth, who are coming in 7th this turn. They are. They are going to be setting the goal of Seize Planet, which of course we'll complete for them. And they're also going to collect their income of 5 faction credits. They're then going to take the Use Asset Ability action. Let's give them their money, and then we'll go through their turn. That'll take their balance up to 19 faction credits. To get started, they're going to attempt to modify population on Iverleaf, trying to take it 2 millions from a population status of an outpost. This is a DC 11 roll with their bonus of +4 from their constellation. So let's go ahead and roll a D10 plus 4. Oh no, roll 20. It says it's rolling the dice, but I don't see a die. There it is. That is an 11, just what they need. So that is a success, being able to change that planet. So planet mount for Iverleaf takes it from outpost to millions. Congratulations. Yes, that's fine. And then as part of their turn, they are going to move their Anchorage station asset, which is currently located on Kardakuk, along with the surveyors, as well as the grav tank formation that are all on this world. They're going to move on along to 1307 Quetzalcoatl. a small tour in the Skila's Reach. That'll cost them 3 faction credits to make this move, so that'll take their balance down to 16 faction credits. Finally, they're going to roll the 4 commodities brokers that they have to gather up some discounts. They don't currently have any, which we can see by lacking any notes over here. The first 3 we will roll will be for ones on Idaras. The last one will be for the one on the planet that they are going to be renaming. So we'll go roll these. I'm just going to roll a single 4d8 and we'll make note of all of the results. That's a 6, 8, 6, and 3. That's a pretty good discount for them, giving a total of 23 on 4d8. So let's go record these for those commodities brokers. So discount 6, a discount of 8. Well, okay, if we're doing this correctly, this one should be the discount of 3, this one should be the discount of 8, and this one should be a discount of 6. So that will take care of all of those. The final thing to do is their Seas of Planet CV will complete. They are going to be renaming this planet to New Cinnabar. So let's go grant them that and give them their 1 XP. That takes them up to 8. And Planet CV up here, they are now the planetary controllers of. And it is now called New Cinnabar, which is a planet name I can pronounce along with the system name of Len, something I can also pronounce. They do need to choose, however, that they are going to be gaining +2 to their wealth asset cap and immediately lose 1 from another stat. They need to make this choice now. They have chosen to lose this from the cunning asset cap. Let's do it this way and lose 1 from cunning. So that will apply to their current abilities, which we can actually go see here that they are. These things should update. There could be multiple things applying, but that's what the spreadsheet says the answer should be. I can double check the math afterwards, but my automation has worked there so far, so I'm going to choose to believe it is going to continue to work. I do need to replace these with the New Cinnabar for the other 2 assets currently on that planet. That wraps up the Assembled Commonwealth's turn, and we'll move on to the Agomala Syndicate. Okay, so it's on the other smaller dock. Okay, I'll circle back to that at the end of the faction's turns, and we'll resolve out the Concords at that point. So, Agomala Syndicate, though, we will do who are 9th. They are going to start off their turn by spending some of their XP to increase their force stat from 4 to 5. So that will cost them 9 experience points, all of them, taking them down to 0, but their force does increase, going up to 5. They will then gain their 5 income, taking them up to 14 faction credits. And they will get to use the asset ability, or sorry, expand influence. I'm looking at the wrong section. So they are going to first off move some strike fleets around. So let's go find these strike fleets for them. They have a strike fleet located on 1206 Cuarento y Cinco El Arpon. They would like to move the Rites of Spring to Valkai, costing them 1 faction credit. They would then also like to move a strike fleet on Eris to Planet P for 1 faction credit. They're then going to build a 1 HP BOI on Planet P. They are the only ones there, so they're able to do so without any opposition. That will cost them also 1 faction credit, as we give them a base of influence. Fantastic, and this should be 1 HP. Cool. So, that wraps up all of those. That was 3 faction credits spent. Let's go charge them for those things, taking their balance down to 11. They're going to also attempt to evacuate population on Valkai. Their roll here is with a +3, so rolling a d10 +3 results in, oh boy, another 4. That is not going to be DC 9, so no population has been evacuated this turn so far. Up next is, though, they're just going to complete their goal, which was expanding influence, so they will gain 1 XP, taking their XP balance back up to 1. That wraps up their turn, and we'll move on to Children of the Vein. Oh, Arkham Syndicate was 8, excuse me. We'll mark up to Children of the Vein, who are 9th this faction turn. They are going to take one of the new goals, the other one we haven't seen so far, and they're going to take Root Out the Enemy. Let's actually make this a little longer. And they're going to specifically target the world of 0711 Bazaar Langza as the location for that. So let's take a look at this goal, because it's a relatively new one, and I think the first time we've seen it in action. This pulls from the Worlds Without Numbers, the fantasy version of the game. It integrates one of the new faction goals that was developed for that system from the original authors. So Kevin Crawford we get to thank for this new inclusion into our game now. This is Root Out the Enemy. Destroy a base of influence of a rival faction at a specific location, in this case Langza. The completion is awards the rounded up average value of the faction stat line divided in half amount of XP, which we will work out should we need to complete this goal. And let us mark the Children of the Vein are going for Root Out the Enemy. Target 0711 Bazaar Langza. So, let's give them their money first, giving them +6 faction credits, taking them up to a balance of 27. They're then going to move an asset around, so let's go do that for them. They have a purchase sickness of smugglers to resolve, but they are going to move these smugglers, in fact, from Atlas Prime to Valkai for the cost of 1 faction credit. They're then going to attempt to evacuate on Valkai, so this is a d10 +6 with a wealth score. A 16 will easily beat a DC 9, so that will be a success for that tracker. That will put the evacs at 1 out of 5. And given this smuggler's asset now needs to leave the system and return, completed Valkai evac. Let's make a note. Congratulations to that smuggler. Then the next thing they're going to do is activate their extended theater asset on Moss to move a grav tank location. So the one up here is going to move a grav tank located on Tellus. It's going to move over to Malaga, which appears to be out of range, but given the oddities of Tellus's movements rules, actually is not, because the grav tank starts on Tellus, therefore it doubles the available movement range, so Malaga is a perfectly valid destination for it. So let's move that grav tank formation over, and that will end up costing 1 faction credit. But that's not the only asset movement we need to do with an extended theater. We also have an extended theater on Malaga itself that is also going to activate. It is going to move the pre-tech infantry tribute right there at 15 out of 16 HP on Tellus over to Langza. Oh, so excuse me, I've messed up the destination of this of the grav tank formation. It should also be moving to Langza. So. Actually, is that one valid? I'm going to circle right back to that one. Let's go move the one that is correct, and I'm going to undo the one that I've just messed up. So this stays on Tellus for the second. Let's do the pre-tech infantry tribute. That one is perfectly fine. It is going to move out to Longza, and then let's go through the doubling rules. So, it is activating an extended theater asset on Moss, which normally has a range of 2 hexes away from itself. It is picking up a grav tank that is located on Tellus, which does activate the double movement range. And it is trying to move to Longza in 0711. But I think that would be 5 hexes away from the extended theater. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which would not be within the double movement range. How do I have Tellus's double movement worded specifically for assets that start on it? When this planet, yeah, okay. The movement assets of a planetary governor controller have double range when they or the asset they are moving start to movement from this planet. Okay, so I believe that means the extended theater should have a range of 4 for the grav tank that it is moving off of Tellus. But that would not be in range of Longza, as that is 5 hexes away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that movement will not be able to be processed. Somebody in chat want to double check my math? That would be appreciated. But I do believe that is the case for that movement. Let me just double check that I am reading these correctly. Yep. Yeah, the Watamalaga is definitely fine. That one's in range without even needing to account for the double movement rules. Because I still think the double movement applies to where the extended theater is currently located. So it's a 4 hex range from the extended theater on Moss, not 4 hexes away from Tellus. So, yeah, the understandable mistake. I just want to validate that a couple other people agree with me in this interpretation. So, unfortunately, that grav tank will not be able to move. But we'll continue without it. I will just go strike through on the pasted turn, as is standard for invalid things. It could have moved to where I thought it moved, which is why I was confused at the second. So yes, this doesn't process. The other one does, though, which is perfectly fine, so that will just cost them 1 more faction credit, taking their balance down to 25. So, they are then going to take the free action, delay the activation on Longza, which is a part of the Amelhart quest, allowing other factions to restrict the growth of the actual clock here. So they are on a world where Amelhart is the base of influence or has the planetary government. It's a D10 plus S versus DC 7 plus the distance to Ingrid. S is the stat the asset is from, so in this case it's a 4 stat, so that's a plus 6. The DC we will go count as just a moment. So this is taking place from Longza, which is in 711. And Ingrid is way over here in 0415, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hexes away. Is it halved by chance, or just the DC plus? Nope, so distance 2, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so DC 12 is this roll. So D10, re-rolling 1s, plus 6 versus DC 12. they have re-rolled a 1 into a 6, giving them a 12 exactly, so that is a success at hindering the clock, taking the Warmind clock back down to 3. They're then going to take several attacks here. So let's go through these in order. So the first one I have is the grav tank that was intended to be on Longza. However, that is invalid, as it is not currently located there. It could, however, attack on Tellus. You don't have to specify the location, you just have to specify the asset, but either way there are no Amelhart assets available on Tellus to defend, so that attack gets a strike through. The Pretech Infantry tribute, though, is able to make its attack. So let's go do that. Pretech Infantry tribute here. It's a force v force attack, so that will be Children of the Veins force, which is 6 versus Amelhart Institute's 4. Sticking with the trend of rolling the defenders first, we'll do a d10 plus 4, resulting in an 11. Now we have a d10, re-rolling 1s once, plus 6 for the Children of the Vein, who have rolled a 15. That is a successful attack, so 2d8 damage being dealt. Oh, I should have specified what was defending. Excuse me, that was my bad. It doesn't affect the rolls, it would just affect counter damage if that was the case. Let me go pull up my defending orders. So, the Saboteurs are defending on Longza, and then, yeah, Saboteurs are defending here. They are instructed to... They are instructed to take damage to the base of influence if the Saboteurs would die in the process of this roll, so good thing we checked before we actually made this. That is a 14, which would kill the Saboteurs, but it would also kill the base of influence, but that's not a Yep, so that is not a condition, it is just if the Saboteurs would die, block with the base of influence, so that will just deal all 10 damage to the base of influence there, which will destroy it. So that will complete the goal. We have a few things to do. So, first off, we need to find the base of influence and damage it. It is currently on Longza, so it will go down to 0. So it is now dead. And then the goal is complete. We'll get back to that after we finish all of the attacks. And that should be it for now, but I'm going to mark that just so I don't forget at the end of all of these attacks. Up next, then, attack-wise, is the strike fleet of the Children of the Vein, currently located on Malaga, where there is covert shipping that is required to defend. This is a force v force attack, so the same thing we just made. So the defenders will roll a d10 plus 4, resulting in a 14 for the defense. The attackers will roll a d6 rerolling 1s, or d10 rerolling 1s plus 6, which will result in a 13, which is not a success, so that attack fails. I do not believe, however, that a covert shipping has a counterattack, so there is no counterattack damage to deal. The next attack is a marketer's asset on Tellus. While there is Commodities Broker still on the map, that is just because the map does not update live, so there are no currently any Amelhart assets here for this to attack, so the marketer's attack fizzles out. As well, there are attacks made on Moss with the Pretech Infantry and Marketer assets here. There are no Amelhart assets there to defend, and Helositis, likewise, the Pretech Infantry asset is making an attack, but there are no assets there capable of defending. So, those attacks just fizzle out. Let's go make the appropriate strike-throughs. So, that will wrap up all of those attacks, there's just one last movement, which is moving the strike fleet on Malaga to Longza. So let's do that for them, charging them the 1 faction credit. This moves to Longza, taking their balance down to 24 credits. They did complete the goal, so we need to do the calculation for how much XP this should give them. So the Amelhart Institute's stat line currently is a 16. We then divide that by 3, producing a number slightly over 5. That's like 5 1/3, if I'm able to do that math correctly in my head. We then divide that in half, which becomes 2.55-ish, and then we take the ceiling of that, so that is 3 XP. Which can I actually do that math in Roll20 for, rather than just having to talk through it verbally? Maybe. So 4 plus 6 plus 6, dividing that by 3. This won't have the proper rounding, but that's fine. Then we divide it by 2. Yeah, 2.66. 2.67. Round that up, though, to 3 XP. So that will grant the Children of the Vein a total of 5 XP as they complete the route out the enemy goal. Those 1 HP bases of influence are looking like a very juicy XP with this rule addition. That wraps up the Children of the Vein's turn, though, and we will move on to going back to Circle on the Concord and Mutual Disdain before we handle our other factions of interest. So let me go find my map modifications how-to document and find the refueling station. Yes, it is DC-8 there. It was just failed to get properly transferred into the centralized rules document. Let's fix that while we're here. And every time we go to do things, we always discover these odd things that are not updated entirely correctly. So making modifications. Refueling. Should probably go here. A refueling station. Its limit is tag exclusions by no global hex count. It is just probably global hex count. DC-8. Establish a refueling station. So this automatically succeeds for them. Let's grant them their 1 experience, taking them up to 4. And they placed this. Oh, I guess I can roll it to be a completionist, but a +9 automatically beats DC-8. Hey, it's a 13. That will place it in the world of Akiva. So a refueling station 1. I still need names for several things here, so good reminder. Thank you, Interfriend, for finding that information. Oh, that's right, they do lose faction HP. So they should be at... I should go update it over here, though. 08. Should update their homeworld base of influence to 24. Thank you for catching that. Our last faction to go to today is the Starlit Court, who are 10th. Shall be a short and sweet wrap-up for the player-controlled factions, as they are going to just take the Seize Planet action, which they will then seize the Grow World. So, there is another faction present here. The Larkspur Combine have both a strike fleet and a base of influence. They were asked if they would like to oppose this seize, And I was told, let me find this so that I can quote it because it was funny. Quote, "It would be funny if I said yes, but no," end quote. So they are not opposing, but I agree it would have been funny if they had said yes, so I felt the need to share. But this siege starts without a hitch for the Starlit Court, who gets to start their tracker. So seize Grail World, 1 out of 3. They are also going to start trying to determine what the ruin is on Grail, so that's going to add. They're going to add a +3 to that roll. As a ruin excavation, they're going to add +3 faction credits. They're going to spend a D10 +3 here for a total of a 10, which gives them +2 on the ruin reveal clock for the planet. So let's find Grail World's clock. It's now at 2 of 8, and they should expect a blurb from me with some more information as the ruin slowly unveils itself to the sector. Alright, let's go charge them for that. Anybody remember if I gave them their money? I don't think I did, so I think they should be at 63 and then down to 60. But that will wrap up their turn. And then we get to move on to Valkai, who is 11th, as we would expect them to be. It's almost like they are going to be that way for quite a while. So, the Valkai faction is going to get to figure out what it does for its turn. So, first thing, its clocks are going to change, so nobody attempted to hinder the government or fight the resistance groups, so those clocks will decrease, given that nobody attempted to stop them. And the faction is going to go ahead and roll the pre-tech manufactory for its turn. So, let's start off with the clocks, so we don't forget those. So, Doom increases, going up to 5, and the government and resistance clocks decrease by 1 respectively, going down to 3 and 4. And then we need to roll for a pre-tech manufactory, which we will go double check the exact things. It's going to roll a d8, gaining half that many, rounded up. So the planet of Valkai rolls a d8. Ooh! How exciting for them. They get to gain 4 faction credits to add to their tracker. That brings their balance up to 10. Congratulations to them. Then finally the White Whale is going to take advantage of its action. Given it has been influenced by the Tohora Fai, its actions are a little bit more predictable this turn, as it will be taking the heal action. So it'll heal 1d3 minus 1 HP. So let's roll that. Unfortunately, even though it tries to regenerate, it is unsuccessful this turn, only regaining 0 HP. That wraps up all of the faction turns, though. Let's go ahead. Gained 4 FC. Action. Box checked. Heal. D3 minus 1 equals 0 HP. So, that wraps up those things. We need to give a asset away, though. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think we said the White Whale and Valkai can both technically receive a... Well, no, I don't want Valkai to receive it, but everyone else can. The White Whale already has one, if I'm not mistaken, so I won't change the ruling there. So, a D11 for the number of factions that are going to receive this. This is a 1, meaning the Children of the Vein have received the newest Distorted Lens asset. Congratulations to them. Let's go ahead and add that onto this. A distorted lens. Let's go ahead and do all of these first. Get to place it on Langen, where it should be, and give it purchase sickness. Congratulations to the children of the vein for receiving that asset then. The other thing in quest-related wrap-up we need to check is the Amelhart's quest damage totals. So let's go check the rules for those. So they need to add up the total number of damage they took or received this turn. So I know they took 10 damage from the base of influence that was destroyed. They did not deal any damage back to the failed second attack from the Strike Fleet, Malaga. On their turn, they attempted to deal damage, but they only took counter damage by taking a 1 damage back on the 1 HP commodities broker. So that brings this total up to 11. They took 4 onto this commodities broker, bringing the total up to 15. And the Vanguard Cadre's asset took 1, bringing the total up to 16. 16 divided by 8 is 2, so they get to gain +2 progress on their tracker, taking their damage up to 5 out of 12. Congratulations to them. I believe that wraps up quest updates. That was both the Temple and the Amelhart damage that needs to be calculated. So that means we just get to wrap up with a few final steps of rules updates. So the first one is, I noticed it last turn, but not until during the turn, and had a brief thing afterwards where I investigated it. Somehow, in the movement overhaul, one asset was missed in the way that it moves, being updated. So if we take a look at the freighter contracts, which is, I don't even remember what type of asset it is. Is it a wealth asset? Might be. Yeah, the freighter contract. It is currently phrased as an action, the freighter contract can transport itself and/or one non-force asset to a location up to 2 hexes away for 1 faction credit. This is in conflict with the intended overhaul for transit, where transit either costed a faction credit and it was a free action, or it was a use asset ability, but it didn't cost you faction credits to activate the transit. So I am going to drop the faction credit cost going forward, so you can just move up to 2 faction credits, or 2 hexes away. No faction credit cost. The cost is the fact that you had to use the use asset ability to move this asset. So that has hopefully fixed some of the inconsistencies I had there with movement abilities. So that should be useful there. And then the other thing to note is that Ascent has we've finalized a phase 2 of Ascent's quest. It'll get updated into the rules document slightly after the stream today. Some point in time today, I'll update the Discord once it's been included there, but I'll go ahead and read it out for folks now. So the phase 2 of the Ascent quest, the Ascent Awakening quest, there we go, is as follows. For every planet that Ascent either has a base of influence or the planetary government tag, they must succeed on an indoctrination roll. This roll must be attempted twice on their homeworld, indicating the increased difficulty of the indoctrination here. This phase can only be started once the end of turn infiltration check has passed. The indoctrination roll requires an infiltration outpost and an asset on the planet in order for the roll to be attempted. The roll is a D10 plus a modifier called D and a second modifier called COL. The results are a sliding scale. A 1 to 5, the infiltration outpost is destroyed and the operation fails. A 6 through 10, it is a successful operation, but there's a cost. Ascent needs to choose one of the following. The highest cost asset based on the planet is disabled. The lowest current HP asset takes 1d8 of damage, or the base of influence is destroyed along with the resulting faction HP loss. On an 11+, the operation is successful without any problems. For the modifiers to the roll, D is a bonus related to an asset or base of influence on the world, taking a D2, D4, or D6 of damage, providing a +1, +2, +3 respectively to the roll. And the COL, or collateral, bonus is related to the number of non-Ascent assets on world. If Ascent disregards collateral damage to other factions, they gain a +2 bonus to the roll for each other faction present. This other rival faction must make a contested cunning versus cunning roll against Ascent's values. If they fail, they choose between one random asset on the world being disabled or a random asset on the world taking a D8 of damage. A faction can provide, so that is the downsides for collateral damage for those other factions, as well as. I need to reorder this so that the wording will make sense, but Ascent can also spend 3 faction credits to provide a +1 bonus on this roll as well, rather than the standard faction credit spend. Their quest completes once all the planets with a base of influence or planetary government have had this indoctrination roll occur successfully. So, that's Ascent's Phase 2 quest. It'll be posted into the roles document for centralized viewing, as I said, within the next couple of hours. With that said, I think that wraps up all the updates I have for today. I don't think I have anything else. If anyone notices something that needs to be corrected from the stream, please feel free to reach out and let me know. But otherwise, I think everything went off mostly without a hitch, other than missing that one bit of information in the rules document that would have helped me out for Concord's turn. With that said, though, hopefully you've enjoyed Faction Turn 31 here, Unrestricted Lorefare's Beacon Space setting. It's been wonderful to continue, and I'm looking forward to our next lore stream, whenever that happens to be, coming up hopefully soon. If you are interested in swapping factions, make sure you get that request in before the 29th of May at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Otherwise, you may get faction swapped, or you may miss the faction swaps as it may be. So that is your upcoming deadline for the next swaps. The next faction turn dates will be announced soon. I need to coordinate our next upcoming lore stream with my co-host Calberg, as well as determine when I'm going to end up hosting the next faction turn. I can guarantee you it won't be the weekend starting July 1st, so it'll be the latest I would expect the next faction turn is probably on June 24th, and unless there's a particular problem as to why that can't be the case, that's probably when the faction turn will occur. With that said, though, I hope everyone has a fantastic holiday weekend if you're in the United States, and if not, I hope your weekend is wonderful regardless. So, with that said, thanks everyone for tuning in to the Beacon Space Faction Turn 31 stream. I've been your host, Xavier Storditz, Xenogoras, the Orator of Yore, as I may currently be found on the Discord server. And of course, if you run into any problems, feel free to let me know. Thanks for tuning in, and if you've been watching the VOD, thanks for watching, and we shall see you next time. Bye everyone!